What's up guys, it's Greg. So I wanted to do a care video on the praying mantis or the Chinese mantis. This is my mantis. I wanted to make sure I did this video before she sadly passed away because she is coming to the end of her life cycle. She had her very last molt about a month and a half ago where she got her adult wings. And I think it's a female because of the large abdomen, but I'm not an expert on these guys, so I'm not positive. But praying mantises and Chinese mantises, and actually pretty much all mantises, have a very short lifespan, maxing out at about 1.5 years for some species. Most of them do have a very short life cycle. So here she is, and I will go show you what it takes to take care of this species. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is tank size. As these two species of mantises tend to be larger than a lot of other species, they do need a larger setup, but by far they do not need anything outrageously big. I would probably recommend a 5 to 10 gallon tank for this mantis. They do perfectly fine in critter keepers as well. There's no need to go extra large with this species. They're not one that likes to explore a lot. They tend to like to just sit in one spot and wait for their food to come by. So I have mine living in a large critter keeper. When it comes to diet, in captivity, it's best to feed this species insects mostly. I feed mine superworms and crickets. Large crickets right now, but when they are really small, I actually hatched this mantis out of an egg sac. When they're really small, it's good to feed them fruit flies. In the wild, this species is known for eating prey that can be actually bigger than them. They have been seen catching frogs, mice, small birds like hummingbirds or chickadees, little rats, lizards, things like that. But in captivity, I would never go anything bigger than a cockroach because I do not want to risk my mantis getting chewed up or injured by its prey. They will live perfect and healthy, long lives if you give them insects their entire life. I wouldn't even go with mice ever because the chance of them getting injured is really high, and I don't think it's worth seeing all that food go to waste too, because if the prey item is a lot bigger than them, typically they won't end up eating the whole thing anyway. So mantises actually do not need a water bowl. They don't typically drink from standing water. Not that they won't benefit from a humidity increase because of it, but I typically like to just spray down the entire enclosure once or twice a day with a spray bottle. They do tend to drink the dew and moisture off of the leaves and the glass as well. They do like the humidity, and it especially helps them when they're molting. So your mantis should always have something that it can climb on. It would benefit very well from live plants to up the humidity, but lighting is not a necessity for this species. I don't have a light on the tank typically. I'm just using a little desktop lamp to brighten up the enclosure so you guys can see it better. But they don't need UVA or UVB. They're not like reptiles where they need it to grow. And I find that it's just a waste of my electricity bill if I did put another light on here just to help plants grow. So I do have a fake plant in here that it can just climb on and hide under. But typically it actually doesn't even end up using it. It likes to just like hang upside down from the top of the critter keeper. This is the top, by the way. So I do like to keep 1 or 2 crickets in this tank at all times because my mantis does eat on a regular basis. It can eat multiple times in a week. Some people don't do that though. Some people just like to feed theirs once or twice a week. I like to make sure that there's food in there almost at all times. If it goes a couple days without eating, it's not going to hurt it. So in this enclosure, I have this little old Dixie cup bottom you can see right here, and this just acts as a little food bowl for it. When you put crickets in the tank, they like to hunt for them themselves, but if I did put superworms in there, they tend to just dig right away and the mantis won't ever get to them. It can also be beneficial to have a large stick in there for them to hang upside down. I do have some little sticks in here that were actually in its enclosure when it was a baby. If you are using sticks, rocks, or anything from your backyard or outside that you find in the enclosure, you have to disinfect it. Either boil it in water or bake it in the oven to kill any bacteria or germs that can harm your mantis. Substrate, I love to use Eco Earth. You could also use peat moss. I really wouldn't recommend using reptile carpet with it or anything like that. I would pretty much only go with Eco Earth or peat moss just because it helps hold in the humidity a lot. They typically don't ever like to walk around on the bottom of the tank. They don't dig or anything like that, so you don't really need to worry about having a lot of it. I just like to have a little bit down there so it can hold a little moisture better. And I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but you never want to house more than one mantis together. They do not need a friend. They do not get lonely. They are a solitary creature, meaning they live by themselves in the wild. If you do have more than one mantis living together, even if they grow up from really tiny babies, they will eat each other. They will kill each other. They will not, there is no way that you can keep two mantises happy and safely together. And like I said, when it comes to lifespan, mantises don't have that long of a lifespan. Mine is getting close to the end of its lifespan. You know your mantis is getting close to the end of its lifespan when it has its last molt, and typically the last molt has the wings show up on the mantis. So you can see right here on my mantis, she does have wings, and I actually did see her fly once, but most of the time she really doesn't even do it. It's not necessary for them in captivity, obviously. And when they have their last molt, they typically tend to live for about a month to 2.5 months longer, and I've had her for a month already, so she is slowing down, she is eating less, and she does fall a lot more now that she's getting older. They're not as stealthy when they tend to be older, but when they're really young, they're really agile. They can hop around really easily. Yeah, and they just tend to be a really cool and simple pet to have. There really isn't much care to them. It's not hard to keep them happy and thriving in captivity. The only thing I will watch out for is when they get pretty large like this, their front legs, or what some people refer to as their prayers or their praying arms or whatever. They do have little spines on them, you could kind of see them. They do hurt a little bit when they grab at you and they climb on you, so for younger kids it might not be the best thing to handle. But for me it's perfectly fine, I don't even mind it. It only feels like little tiny pricks. If you guys have any questions about caring for your mantis, please leave them in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more animal videos. And like I said earlier in the video, this is only a care video for the two mantis species that I've named before, just the common praying mantis and the Chinese mantis. Some other species of mantises do have higher and harder requirements to take care of. This tends to just be a nice and simple, easy to care for mantis, and it is fairly common. So that's it guys with this video. If you found it helpful, make sure to leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more awesome pet videos. This might be the last you see of this beautiful girl. I think it's a girl, but honestly I don't really mind if either way. Like I said earlier, I'm not an expert when it comes to like mantis biology and stuff like that and how to tell the difference between male and females, and I never intended on breeding her or anything. Yeah guys, I hope to see you in the next video. Peace out.